All right, guys, welcome to the second game of the series. We got ourselves Divine Nine facing off against Hippity Hoppity. With me is my co-host Panda. She won't be saying too much here. They'll just be giving to you some meows, maybe some noms. Let's see, making sure. So, first map of the night, we're going to kick things off over at Infernal Shrines. We were just there about 20 minutes ago, so we're going to be going back there. I hope you enjoyed your stay because hopefully you're already wanting to go there again. Now, Divine Nine and Hippity Hoppity are two teams that are very close in the general standings. If we go up and actually take a look at some of the information that Stats of the Storm can provide us, we can pull that up. Wrong. All right, takes a minute to just get the stats started here. So some things that they're going to have to be cognizant of on Hippity Hoppity is that they love Muradin, Jaina, Yrel, Sonya, and they even play Uther and Deckard alongside of Kerrigan. So they have a pretty interesting hero pool on Divine Nine. On the side of Hippity Hoppity, we're going to see a good variety as well. Muradin, Jaina, Rhaegar, Dahaka, Artanis. So definitely playing to their team's strengths, as those are not, some of those picks are not your typical go-tos. All right, we're going to be jumping on into the draft as they are ready to go here. So first bans we're going to see are Tyrande and Azmodan. So Tyrande is definitely a solid ban. I feel Azmodan is an overvalued ban because he has very low success rate in organized play and basically doesn't show up to almost any organized play. In Hero League, yes, he might have some proof that he's good, but the problem is it's in an unorganized environment where games happen to go longer. And with that, Whitemane and Deckard have both been kicked out. So the support pool meta is getting locked down rather quickly. And Hippity Hoppity coming on in hot with that Alexstrasza. Now, this is a pristine pick. For starters, you have Alexstrasza, who is a shrine goddess. Now, fighting into Dragon Queen is very hard, and they're going to try to do that with a combination of Johanna and Cassia from Divine Nine. I am curious if we're going to see something like a Lily here, and we're going to see the auto attack blind build from Cassia. It'd be very interesting. I have yet to actually see it used by a team. And with that, they are going to pick up Hanzo and Kael'thas. Now, the Hanzo is impacted, but not very impacted by autos being blinded. So his never outmatched won't really get rate value in a double blind situation. But Kael'thas really doesn't need to auto attack whatsoever. So the blind value is a lot less significant than you'd hope for. And with that, they are going to ban out Muradin. But Diablo is also available. However, Hippity Hoppity has not played Diablo. They've played Diablo once and have lost with her once. Now, these two teams are very closely matched on top of that. This isn't, your run-of-the-mill teams that are very far apart in standings. We have two teams who are very, very close in the standings facing off right now. Yeah, thanks, Jason. Somehow my buttons are stuck on my buttons are stuck on my phone. in case you guys wonder how I do my magic, I have an app on my phone, change scenes, and very rarely does it actually screw up like that. So Lily is not ready for adventure, and what's fantastic is that they kind of read the situation here. Like, well, do we really want to give them a Lily too on top of this and give them triple blinds? And they're not going to allow them to do that. This is very, very interesting choices here. We have an Arthas and a Stitches. We've seen Arthas being busted out, and I think his tweaks for the next patch might push him up into the meta more frequently, especially as potentially a solo laner. Now, right, get this. That can connect. Now, the Sonya is a little bit out of the meta nowadays. The Sonya versus Arthas situation, it'll be up to what build Arthas goes. It's not a winning situation for Arthas without trying to go a dueling build, in my opinion. And finally, we are going to get Maiev. Maiev will be able to lock down Stitches from gorging someone, potentially, and will also help with potentially a disengage should they need it, because they have some AoE, but not a tremendous amount on the side of Divine Nine. See if the scene changing works once again. So of these two teams, I kind of like the draft from Hippity Hoppity a little bit more. Now, they have very low auto attack, so the blinds on blinds on blinds, not the most valuable thing in the world. It still does screw up someone like Hanzo for Never Outmatched, and their solo lane situation is probably in favor of Sonya. Now, Ana is an interesting choice. They don't have dive, but they do have Stitches, which is almost the same as having dive. So if Ana gets picked out, there's very little they can do. So we're in the game and we got TZ Destroyer on the Stitches. We got Frozen on the Arthas, T Funny on the Alexstrasza. We're going to have a Cap Charleston on the Kael'thas, Dirix on the Hanzo, and that is going to be Hippity Hoppity. On the other side, we got Jason on the Cassia, Judge Bread on the Ana, Phantoms on the Maiev, Rabid Penguin on the Johanna, this guy on Sonya, and that is going to be Divine Nine. Hook across, a swing and a miss, but you miss every hook you don't take. Quote Michael Scott. So this guy going on in deep, going to be taking a chunk of damage. Frozen getting a nice root there, but this guy will make it on out. Phantoms eats the hook from TZ Destroyer, and really they're looking much healthier on the side of Hippity Hoppity. So looking at what we got, we're going to get the Thunderstroke, we're going to get Piercing Darts, Laws of Hope, Tough as Nails, and Bonds of Justice. Hook coming down town, but not going to connect, and Phantoms just dodges that pretty easily. We're going to get the Mana Addict, the Simple Geometry, a Live and Let Live, a Rhyme, and Heavy Slam. So this is a much better dueling situation for Frozen with this build. However, this guy is on Sonya. Sonya does not auto very often into someone, and her main source of damage is not going to be her autos. It's going to be the spin, it's going to be the slam. And I'd almost say taking the trait talent at 1 for the Frostmourne is actually better, because you run out of mana pretty quickly as Arthas between healing yourself, using your AoE to actually clear, and see, push. Although the upside is nowadays, it's not that big a deal losing your front wall. And you can see slowly burning through. And Sonya, well, she's infinite mana. So really a winning situation if you force Arthas to burn through all his mana. We got 8 stacks, 4 stacks, 9 stacks, and 1 stack. Yet to have any for Bonds of Justice. And this guy is winning the lane. So Rhyme is impactful, but like I said, it's against someone who does auto attack, but it's not very meaningful to auto attacks in comparison to the slams and the whirlwinds that are chewing through his health pool. And as you can see at this point, Frozen has now opted for the Frozen Waste. So he's not going the full dueling build. He is going to go with a little bit of the dueling build with the Rhyme to help hold down things in the top lane, and he's going to pick up the Frozen Waste to help control the situation. Especially when you get Frozen Waste combined with Remorseless Winter, it's highly effective, especially against a Cassia. That's one other thing I failed to mention, was that Arthas into Cassia is an additional lockdown choice. Ooh, the hook goes out, TZ will not connect, but almost does. Arthas going to come on down into the thick of things in a second here, but in the meantime, this guy, Frozen coming on in, will get the double root onto this guy and onto a Rabbit, but it is the 2 frontliners. They're trying to push on in. The heal from T-Funny is going to keep them all topped off, and with Dragon Pop, they're basically going to give this up at this point. They're at 25, and they're going to either have to come on in, post Dragon, or, ooh, that's a lot to give up over there as they come on back in. Jason going in with the fend. TZ still on top of Jason. Phantom's looking for the tether, not going to get it. Frozen just sitting on top of him. And this is a battle coming down to the wire, 37 to 33. And they're going to pick up the last one. Do they? Can they? Oh my! They do finally pick it up, coming down to the wire. Beautiful sleep and blind. Frozen getting really low. This guy going to pick up the kill in the meantime. They get the Punisher, but they lose a member in the meantime. So first, Punisher going the way of Hippity Hoppity, but they do take some tower damage. They have Phantoms on top clearing this up, which is going to get quite a bit of value here. It's not going to be the world's worst situation, but it does help for future Punishers. As future Punishers, well, they're going to be in either top or bot lane next. XP is still in favor of Divine 9, which is definitely what you want to see. Even if you lose the Punisher, staying up in the XP wars is very, very critical. Getting in the Mercap, not going to do too much, but Rabbit coming on in, getting a nice punish and condemn. There goes Jason with the Finn, but he will be interrupted, and Cap Charleston will manage to survive in all of that. So taking a look at the talents we have, Thunderstroke is almost complete. Or sorry, for the 20 reward, it's almost complete. We're going to see Impale coming on out here. I don't think Impale is usually the choice most people take, especially against double front line. Impale seems a very, very risky choice. By impaling into an Arthas, you're basically dooming yourself to death. We're going to have the temporary blindness and the overdose as well. And the collapse on in. Rabbit Penguin coming in for T-Funny. And they're going to have to back on off. Phantom's coming on in as well. And Cap Charleston trying to support his team, but coming in a hair too late at that point. We're going to have the full Whirlwind with the Life Funnel and with that Hurricane. They do have a minimal interrupt. There is the root from Arthas though, and a Remorseless Winter. So I'm not sure how well Life Funnel will ultimately, how valuable Life Funnel will ultimately prove here. Nice root from Frozen. Still going to dish out some damage, but it's not going to be too much. He did also pick up on the other side that Icebound Fortitude. Since exposed with the Blessed Momentum, the Blade Dance and Loon's Wrath. We do have the Slam builds coming on out. About halfway done for Arthas as well. We have the full Geometry build and almost done with the Mana Addict for Cap Charleston. We'll have the Sun King's Fury here, so he's going for the spread build. Well, and the Netherwind with the extra range. So top has been conquered by this guy, as really Arthas can't deal with Sonya overall, like I said, especially because he doesn't have the dueling build, or full dueling build here. Tins have come online. We're going to have that nano boost. We're going to get the Blessed Shield, the Wrath, the Containment Disc, and the Ball Lightning. So they do pick up their Bruiser Camp, which is very nicely timed, as this leaves Arthas in a bind. Does he leave, which he is, or does he clear the Shaman Camp? If he leaves, this is going to go and start pushing into the fort. And Divine 9 has taken up a much nicer position overall. Frozen coming on hot, mounted, and there's the sleep. We do have TZ coming on in now as well, and we got the AoE slow coming on. Very nice route, but the containment is this guy getting blown up by Cap Charleston's Pyroblast in the face, and TZ coming on in with that Putrid Bile, keeping him from going anywhere. But the arrow from Dirix will not connect. Jason just barely surviving here with less than 100 HP, and Hippity Hoppity coming on through this time around in the team fight and going to take Punisher number 2. So, top lane has been taken down in part thanks to that Shaman Camp. Perfect timing by Divine 9, but an imperfect team fight resulting in them losing the Punisher. Nice bait there. The hook though onto Jason has nowhere to go because getting rooting in place is not exactly what is good for Cassia's well-being. And the Gravity Lapse combo is not going to secure the kill, but Phantom's taking a lot of damage. This fort is definitely going to go down, and Containment Disc has been blown up as well. Divine 9 is the team in blue, and on the other side we have Hippity Hoppity, the team in red. So top fort did go down. Bot fort has gone down. I actually think, this is going to be strange to say, but I actually think that they trade this out overall better on the side of Divine 9. The reason for that is they've taken top fort down. Bottom was, we've had mid objective, bottom objective, and next is going to be top objective, which means that this can march to a keep and net them a big win here. 13's around the corner. They're coming on in looking for TZ. There's the tether on back, and Stitches want to play with the big arrow from Dirix, maybe saving the day. With Lightbinder coming on out, the Putrid Bile. TZ looking to come back in. Phantom is super low. This guy is on another planet, and they are looking for blood. The pull back from TZ, the sleep though from Judge Bread, and Pyroblast to the face! Almost enough. Frozen going to seal the deal though as he marches on in, looking for the booty, looking for more kills. The dragon going to be popped. Arthas going to be popping his army of the dead. And we have 3 members of Divine 9 going on down. So, this is brutal, that team fight. They have the opportunity to push on in as they have a creep wave here simultaneously. They're looking for a first and early keep in the game. And even if they should all die here, this is going to be Value Town, because they're going to get nearly to 15 off of this, which then puts them in a very close to position to forcing a 16 versus 13 or 14 scenario. So top pushed all the way on in here. We got big creep wave nonetheless, but this guy going to sit in the bush and keep on soaking. I like this positioning. Oh, say goodbye to Phantom. Now you see him and now you don't. And that's why he's called Phantom, because now he's just a ghost. Houdini would be absolutely proud of that magic trick that Hippity Hoppity just showed us. So they are now going to go pick up the Bruiser Camp, cause this to, well, create a lot of pressure in the top lane, and mid objective is actually the next one up. So bless RNG here, because top lane getting shoved on and not going to actually be where they really want this Punisher to go. But they are also going to pick up their own bruiser camp, creating additional pressure once again in the top lane while they start up the shrine. So Phantom's coming on, and there's the Gravity Lapse, only going to hit 2 members of Rabid Penguin, and this guy pushing on in. T-Funny getting low, going to be healed on up, and in the meantime, Frozen's all alone without Stitches there to help as he's stuck in the containment disc. Frozen going to be popping that Army of the Dead, but it will not keep him up. In the meantime, Derek's dropping some damage with those arrows. The Pyroblast onto Johanna, questionable at best, and they lose the Arthas and have to back on out. Divine Nine are looking to retaliate with their own Punisher. The pull on back onto Phantom, and they're keeping things still going here with this fight. They tap on up, and 33-16, TZ doing a lot of damage with Dirix, but it's not going to be enough, and Punisher is going to go on over to Divine Nine. This guy, though, might be going on down. Cap Charleston going to help appeal for Dirix. This guy going to have to back on out. And Phantom's looking for the kill, but will not find it. So Arthas is back up. They've used a lot of heroics on both sides. There's the leap. Phantom going to actually throw out the containment disc. They don't have a Penguin ready to go quite yet. There he goes. The sleep going to keep him locked down temporarily. Putrid Bile not quite available, but the Punisher is already at a quarter life and falling rather quickly, which means that there is going to be no Punisher getting a keep on their side. But look at bot lane. There are 4 catapults in the meantime. So Hippity Hoppity should just try to delay their back. Looks like that's what they're trying to do. TZ, does he have a hook? Does he have the hook? He's looking. He's searching. Is he going to be going? He's looking. He's still looking. No hooking for TZ. We're now at a mega lull. Not a lull as in L-U-L, but a lull. Now, a lull in the game, as there's very little to accomplish here. Bot lane needs to be picked up in 16 versus 16. What's amazing is that Divine Nine took that fight. They're looking for it. They're coming on in. They're going on in hot. Phantom's going to be coming on in. The Putrid Bile is going to be plop. We got the Dragon. The Arrow's going to completely whip. TZ is going to go down. Frozen is up next on the list. Is he going to survive? He does manage, and Divine Nine uses a lot. And Dirix, however, does do the math, taking down Phantoms. So it's a 1-for-1 situation. This is not a fight I think they can continue to push in on, as they have used a lot of heroics on both sides. Take their wins, lick their wounds, and come back ready for the next objective. Top has been pushed in a decent chunk, but it's not going to fall over quite yet. So taking a look at what talents we had chosen. We have Thunder God's Vigor. We have the Pierce. We have Purifying Darts. The Sharp Shooter. Holy Fury. I recommend Holy Fury. It's probably the worst of the bunch in most cases. Fanaticism, I feel, is only makes sense in 2 scenarios. And this might be one of them. Against the AoE of Arthas, where you can guarantee you have it up all the time. And Rabid Penguin doing a nice job in keeping vision there. They'll back on off from this bruiser, and they'll just give it on up, it looks like. Or are they? This guy's going to be rotating on up. The containment disc will hit. We got the arrow from Derek. This guy looking for some action. Captain Charleston taking a lot. Going to pop up that Mana Addict, and we get a heal to keep him topped on up. Frozen will be pulled on back in the backside. Jason coming on with the Impale. But, sorry, the Bend. But this Army of the Dead going to keep Frozen on the thick of things, and this guy has nowhere to go with Frozen on top of the case. And with Pyroblast coming on through, Judge Bread is going to try and save him and manages to do so. But the sleep from Arthas, they secure the kill on both Johanna and onto Amayev. So top lane opened up, very nicely done. I liked the rotation from this guy. However, the team fight split very heavily. And T-Funny saved the day for Captain Charleston. Captain Charleston popping the Mana Addict, keeping himself overall healthy, the heal from T-Funny, and then with the Lifeliner, he basically lost no HP. And this guy being off in no man's land at that point goes down. Frozen popping the Army of the Dead. They aren't able to finish him off, forcing Divine Nine to really waste their time and take a lot of damage as Frozen keeps him occupied. Now, Frozen did pick up the Remorseless Winter and the Shattered Armor, so he basically can lock down the enemy team very trivially as well. And with Army of the Dead, he gets a lot of healing. You can do the math. He gets ghouls. Each ghoul heals for 563. That's a lot of HP that Arthas has capable of tapping into. So bottom lane is pushed all the way back. They have very little pressure there. Frozen coming on in. There's Unstoppable. Very nicely done by Johanna. And so Rabbit Penguin will back on up. We finally have the Q Quest Thunderstroke fully completed here, which was really needed to be completed a long time ago at this point. There comes the Putrid Pile, and we also have Arthas popping the Army of the Dead, but the Containment Disc will keep him from using it for very long. 20s are online, though. This guy going really low, and they part like the Red Sea on Divine Nine, completely avoiding that Dragon's Arrow. Rabbit Penguin, however, is going to be dropping here. This guy getting low, going to come back on in and spin to win on top of Frozen as long as he can. Punisher is getting low. They do not have Johanna. Jason going to get a big blind here, and they are trying to end the game. They're coming back in. This guy going to take out Captain Charleston, and that is a lot of damage they have just lost, and they're still trying to do what they can to end the game, but they're actually going to be forced on back. This guy spinning to win on top of them. No more kills so far. Jason looking for it. Jason's still looking for it. This is very, very dangerous. His team is not with him. He's going to come back in with the Fend, staying alive right now, but costing him his life. This guy finally committing back in. They have the Wrath still online. Frozen coming back in, not going to be tethered to death, but they're going to pick up a 1-for-1 here. In the meantime, look at the mid lane. Those goats have gotten some value here. They need to be careful because, well, they're all fairly low. Derek's going to help clear this up. This is down to about 40% HP now on that keep, and they've lost themselves 2 keeps, bot lane and top lane. This is highly devastating for Divine Nine. And on the other side, well, they managed to keep their keep, which is very, very beneficial. They lose a few members on the side of Hippity Hoppity, but it is highly, highly effective, their assault on that core. Down to 49%, you can almost backdoor this without a problem, especially if you have Dragon available and ready to go alongside of all your heroics. So looking at what we had the Presence of Mind picked up, so increased radius. Now, this is very interesting because he's going to throw out more Pyroblasts with Presence of Mind all day long. We have the play of the game. We have the Ancient Flame. We have a Death's Advance here. So he can get on top and get in and out much more easier on that Arthas. And finally, we got the Cannibalize. Other side, we had the Infinite Lightning. Here they come looking for the fight. They're going to actually catch out Arthas. The hook across onto this guy. This guy, however, is going to be fine. The root on top of him. They're still looking to push on forward. The slow from TZ Destroyer. He does not have the hook quite up yet. The sleep will actually give almost enough time to get that hook back up. Instead, they're going to go and just pick up the camp as mid lane is going to be forced on back. And with the catapults down bottom, they really can play this very, very slowly. Top lane, push on in. Bot lane, push on in. This guy coming on in. There's the shield. Looking for the kill on Derek's. Derek's looking for a wall to jump over. There's the life finder. Captain Charleston's going to be going on down here. Very nicely done from Divine Nine on focusing him down. Jason, though, and Judge Brad. And the arrow coming across, netting them 2, now a 3rd kill. And it's a triple, baby. Penguin does have that indestructible. The containment disc will be popped, but Penguin is going to be going down, and Hippity Hoppity are going to walk away with game number 1. Or if you want to get a little more correct, they're going to hop on over to that core and get themselves a win. Catapults coming on in. This guy just 1v1ing TZ Destroyer, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, 4 catapults, 3 members, you do the math. That's a 0% core, baby. So taking a look at what we had here for total damage numbers and so forth. Sieging, Rabid Penguin, top siege. That's a lot of wave clear there from Rabid Penguin. Then it falls down to Jason, this guy, and then falls down pretty quickly after Dirix. Total damage, Stitches with the top DPS that game, 75.8k damage. Finally, Sonya coming in with 73.7k, Jason with the 65.7k, and then falling off from Dirix, we had 63.7k. Healing output, T-Funny getting 50% more healing, if not slightly more than 50% increased healing over Judge Bread. That's a lot more healing. And then the damage difference between the two, that's a lot more damage to add onto it. Tanking, Sonya tanked out of her mind. This guy knows how to play a Sonya. We had 17,000 more tanking by Sonya. Rabid Penguin was out-tanked by Sonya and out-tanked by Arthas. That's a lot of tanking that both Arthas and Sonya did. Finally, in terms of XP, Frozen taking the crown there with about 1,000 more XP gained for his team, and then the numbers are pretty much all in Hippity Hoppity's court. We'll be right back for game number 2, and we'll be popping on over to the replays